Elections are serious business and should be everybody's business, since it's through this process that we get to choose those who, or persons who would lead us, not just all around the world. So that's why everybody should get involved in elections. You have to be involved in a serious business because you have to choose those who will govern you for the next 4 years. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. This is Political Standpoint. I am Precious Amayo. Now, for decades, Nigerians have lived by saying that the youths are the leaders of tomorrow. But that tomorrow seems to be unending. The youths are the largest voting demography in Nigeria, and yet they play a very minimal role in how their leaders emerge. Of the more than 84 million registered voters in the country, the youths have more than a 50% share. But this strength of numbers doesn't reflect in the outcome of the polls. Youth participation in politics remains poor, as they seldom go out to vote or contest for political offices. For the few who put themselves forward, they are often politricked out by the bigwigs and moneybags. Ahead of the 2023 presidential election, quite a number of young candidates have declared their intention to run for the country's #1 office. But what are their chances of emerging as the candidates of their political parties and then eventually winning the ballot? Joining me from Abuja studio for more on this is a political aspirant of the presidential aspirant on the platform of the All Progressives Congress, Adamu Garba. Good to have you join us.
Thank you very much for having me.
So let's look at, I want to begin with the latest, or let me call it the latest outrage from you on Twitter, because you've mentioned, I mean, when you're pretty much very vocal on Twitter, when you're not in support of an issue, you speak out. And you have spoken out about the fees or the price for the nomination form of your party, which has been put at 100 million naira. That's for the presidential aspirant. You have said you will raise the money, but let's get your thoughts on 100 million naira, which is a huge sum of money, by the way.
I was actually shocked by the financialization of our political space. You see, political office is the office that's supposed to deliver public good. It's a public trust office. And for you to be able to establish public trust, you must be able to convince the public about your competencies, your capacity, your ability, your deliverability in your plan to be able to transit the country from the situation it is now to a better situation. That should be the first and the foremost criteria to determine a public officer in any decent society. But once you financialize, it's like you are putting a red tape. In fact, when you financialize a political office, it's like you are creating a situation whereby people that can do something evil, provided they have money, will still be able to occupy public office. The way it is done, if you truly want to fix a criteria that will limit over participation in the process, it's not a very standard criteria. For instance, in Nigeria, we have massive security challenges. We have economic issues. We have different sectoral issues, health issues, education issues. What we should do in a party is we should fine-tune this candidate, ask them to produce a standard blueprint that will address these particular problems. It is the quality of conviction, of these candidates, of the general public, that should qualify them to go and contest. And that is why if you see in all other democracies, these are the criteria they set before you are able to participate even in the process of primary election. You must be able to participate through gruesome process of explaining what are your programs, your plan, your manifesto, your blueprint that is going to help the country before you are qualified to the office. But in our own case, we financialize. It means we are giving opportunity some people that can steal. For instance, if someone is a bandit, you are able to kidnap some people and get some ransom, and you are able to arrange with some people, you are going to be able to contest political office in Nigeria. A drug trafficker can do that. A Yahoo person that is stealing money can do that. Even our official bandits that steal public resources can be able to do that. So financializing an office, especially political office, is really not a good thing at all. In fact, in Ghana, our neighbor, the total amount of money required to buy presidential form is $2,000. How will Nigeria even ask a person that is contesting for an office of state assembly to be paying much more than the Ghanaian presidential form. Again, if you look at that amount of money, we are talking about 100 million naira. 100 million naira. The total salary
just
of
a
the
minute,
President of the Federal
Mr.
Republic of
Garba.
Nigeria is like 14 million. When you pick 14 million,
for young
you
people,
sum it by 4, you get.
All right, so let me ask you, because I want to get to the issue of youth or young people in just a moment, but you have called on Nigerians to mobilize, especially young people, and speak up or stand against the price of this nomination form. But you have also said that you are going to raise the money, which is quite ironical. If you really have something against the price being put at 100 million naira, shouldn't you speak up and ensure that the price is a bit down before you decide to run? But you have said you will raise the money, which means that you are in agreement or you're willing to pay that amount of money.
You see, to disagree respectfully doesn't mean to deny participation. And again, one of the serious problems we should consider is if we are facing consistent problem in our system. We have financialized education system, we have financialized healthcare, we have financialized even travel, we have financialized everything, we are now financializing public office. If I cannot afford the money as an individual, we have collective power. We, the younger population, can collectively raise the fund and go there. Because democracy is about public interest. And once we are able to rally public interest behind our contestation, it means we are giving party opportunity to present the candidate that is winnable, candidate that can win election for them. All the candidates you see organizing themselves around the party, if they cannot be able to win election, is empty. But I am very sure that I can win this election. So let us look at how we can rally ourselves. Since some of them have individual pocket power, we should have collective resolve power. We will collect, we will work with our general friends, family, and the people that are interested in what we are doing to try to raise the money, to show them that we don't agree with what you are doing, but that cannot stop us from participating to fix the system. You can never fix the system by staying outside the window and complaining. You have to be there. The fact that there are decision making that has been taking place to decide these amounts of monies, for you to be able to fix it, regularize it, reform it, conform it to the best way that should be done, that will be more inclusive, you have to get there. I, as an individual, I don't have the money to do that. I'm a private businessman. But again, with the people that we have around, with our network, with our friends, with the many youths that have shown on solidarity. In fact, there is even a particular young man that even said that he called me, he said he's willing to even sell his house to make contribution. So when we have so many people that are desiring to contribute to get this thing done, we have to give them opportunities so that we can come together and show the Nigerian political elite that we, the younger people, are ready for the future of this country and we want it to be better. We are tired of the insecurity, we are tired of poverty, we are tired of joblessness, we are tired of lack of going to school, we are tired of battery, we are tired of bandit, we are tired of terrorists, we are tired of this thing. We want a future where we will be very proud of giving back to our children, building our businesses, connecting with our families, and living in peace and happiness and prosperity. Therefore, the best way to do that is to organize ourselves, conform ourselves, resolve that we should contribute to go there and win this election. And that's actually what we are trying to do.
And let's talk about how these nomination forms, or the price for the nomination form, sort of connects with youth inclusion. For example, I remember in 2014 when President Muhammadu Buhari was contesting for election, he did talk about how the price of a presidential form, he lamented how it was so high. Even at the time, it was just 27.5 million naira. And I say just compared to the 100 million naira now. Now, the president said he spoke to John Odige Oyegu, who was the then national chairman of the APC. And according to the president, Odige Oyegu said that the price of the form was to separate the men from the boys. When you look at that statement today, or analyze that statement today, how much of a problem that statement of separating the men from the boys, how much of a problem do you think it is when it comes to youth inclusion in politics in Nigeria?
Actually, I have no audio.
If you can hear me, just indicate, Adamu Garba, can you still hear me? All right, so I'll just ask the question again. I was highlighting the fact that in 2014, President Muhammadu Buhari picked the form of the APC at 27.5 million naira, and he did lament that price for the nomination form was too high. He said he spoke to the national chairman of the party at that time, which was John Odigie, and he said, John Odigie, according to the president, said that the price for the nomination form was to separate the men from the boys. And I'm asking you, how much of a problem do you think that statement is today in our politics, especially with youth inclusion?
I didn't get that. Can you come back again? The audio seems to be fluctuating.
All right, so I'll just try and take it one more time. I was saying to you, again, just indicate if you can hear me now, by the way, before I go on.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, so let me take the question again. I was saying that, and I'm sure you know that in 2014, that President Muhammadu Buhari picked the form of the APC, presidential form, a nomination form rather, at 27.5 million naira. And he complained, he did lament that he had to, I think he said he had to borrow, or he didn't have the money at that time. And then he said he spoke to the then chairman, national chairman of the party, John Odigie, who then said to the president, according to the president, that he said it was the nomination, the price of the nomination form was to separate the men from the boys. And I was asking you, how problematic is that statement of separating the men from the boys in terms of involving young people in politics?
It is seriously disheartening. As you rightly said, in 2014, the nomination form goes for 27 million. And in 2019, which I was a participant in the contest, the nomination form for the office of the presidency was 45 million. And again, in 2023, the nomination form is going for 100 million. We project 2027 to be 250 million, 2031 to be 700 million. So you can imagine how we are trying to financialize an office that is supposed to fix the problem of Nigeria. To raise 100 million means, as a civil servant or as any other ordinary worker that is earning minimum wage, you have to work for 278 years to be able to raise the money to aspire for the president, no matter how competent, how prepared, how better you have the best solution out of the problems of the country. So this is seriously a bad model. It's sending a signal that all you need to be a Nigerian leader is to have money. All you need to be a Nigerian leader is to have money. And that is why you see our political public holders, some of them are very excellent, determined to do the right thing. Once they get into public offices, because of this kind of exigencies and examples, they start to steal money. Because they do not want to participate, and they don't have enough money to do so. So it means the money for public good is being changed. And worst case scenario, with over financialization of the system, we are creating high level of inflationary pressure and excluding the larger percentage of the society, especially with the level of poverty that we have today in Nigeria. Over 100 million people are below the poverty line. And you are seeing to go and win a public office that is supposed to reverse this scenario, you need 100 million naira. I believe it is wrong to say that that is the way to separate men from the boys. The best way to separate men from the boys is, what do you have to fix our problem? What do you have to address our challenges? How can people send their children to school? How can our women have better access to healthcare? How can our own people that are in business make more profit? How will energy be available and cheaper? How will transportation system be easy and safer? That is the way to separate men from the boys. But the situation whereby you financialize the system, you are giving access to acquisition of the country by the criminals. Sometimes you are even encouraging toxic funds, when many countries are doing everything to detoxify the political system by making sure that bad money does not come to create massive inflation and serious problem to the society. We are encouraging that. That is wrong, and that is why me personally, I believe the system is what is wrong, not even the individual. President Muhammadu Buhari, that I know as Adamu Garba is that kind of person that I believe when he was even approving this, he's very angry with the situation, as he was in 2014. But unfortunately, every other person is a product of the system. The way the system is designed in Nigeria is so exclusionary and financialized to the point whereby without money you can't do anything. Without money you can't get prayer. Without money you can't travel. Without money you can't marry. Without money you can't do anything. Money becomes everything, and that is why we encourage so many Yahoo activity, so many criminal activity. Now our corridors have become drug lords havens. We have several terrorists in our land that the only thing they do to make money is to kidnap people and ask for money. You see, you have also criminal gangs that are operating in the Gulf of Guinea, stealing our crude oil simply because they want to have money. We have people that are occupying public offices where they are supposed to deliver public goods. They are looking for money. We have our doctors that are working for humanity.
I would have to put you on hold. I have to take a break at the moment. I would like to explore the statements you made about the president, and I would like to explore that just after the break. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. This is Political Standpoint. We've been discussing with a presidential aspirant under the platform of the All Progressives Congress, Adamu Garba. He joins us from Abuja studio. We've been talking about youth involvement in politics and how the political parties are creating the opportunity for or not for youth to participate. Thanks for staying with us, Adamu Garba. You were speaking about the president just before we went on break, and I must say that your admiration of the president or your support of the president is quite admirable. But let me talk about the fact that in 2018, while in 2014 the president complained about the price of the nomination form, in 2018 he picked the form for I think about 45 million naira without any complaint. And I believe it was that same year that the president signed the Not Too Young to Run bill into law. And so one wonders, now it is 100 million. I understand that for those who are 40 and I think and younger, it's 50 million, which is still a lot for a 35-year-old person who wants to run for the office of the president. If the president is quite committed to youth inclusion, it has influence within the party to beat down this price, and he hasn't done anything about it. Doesn't that speak of his level of commitment to youth inclusion?
You see, party is an institution. An institution has different organs that make different recommendations. And even in your last question, you said separating men from the boys. We look at separating men from the boys, and the party perhaps maybe recommended money as the main reason why you separate men from the boys. And you have maybe a single individual, of course a party leader, but of course who wants to also listen to the recommendations of the party members. It may seem to be like imposition, and when something bad happens, they may want to start throwing blames. That's what I want to believe. But sincerely, I am not happy, very deeply inside me, that that this has happened, and that the president also was sitting there and he saw it. Personally, what I know of the President Muhammadu Buhari that we voted for, that I supported almost all through his administration, is not somebody that will be happy with this situation. But now that it happened, I'm not happy about it. And he should know that we, the younger population, that so much believed in him, so much trusted him, so much worked for him, in fact did everything possible to ensure that we support him, even though we are facing serious challenges in the system, we still remain very faithful to his administration. I think this is not really the right way to treat us. So it is very important, very, very important, that we pay attention to the quality, the output, and the delivery objective of a leader to emerge, as the president also emerged in 2015, because of his delivery objectives. And what are the delivery objectives? First delivery objective is security. Second, economy. And third, corruption. These are the delivery objectives. We all Nigerians trusted and overwhelmingly supported him. In 2019, I contested alongside the president, and I was asked to withdraw. The president, after signing the Not Too Young to Run bill, he requested that we should step back and let him continue and give him the support so that by 2023 we can come back. Now I'm coming back and I'm facing 100 million naira. As a private businessman, for God's sake, if I carry 100 million naira tomorrow and I went to party secretariat to submit in the name of pricking form, how are you going to see me? Insensitive, non-conscious person, or thief? Because these are the things. How am I going to save 100 million naira when I'm running a business? It's not possible. You can't carry 100 million naira and think it just to buy a form. It's just a form. The same way you want to go and register in a hospital,
and that's
you just pay money and then they give you a form. It's just a form.
Mr. Garba, just to come in here, because really, like you said, it's just a form to show that one is interested. And you mentioned earlier that in a place like Ghana, the nomination form is about $2,000, which when you calculate, ends up being about maybe 1.3, 1.5 million naira from $2,000. In places like the US, it's almost the same thing. Someone who earns minimum wage can at least contest for different positions in the US. Do you think that with this, that your party has now positioned itself as a non-youth friendly party? Because it's going to be very difficult when you look at the amount, even though there is a 50% discount, it is still a lot of money for the different positions.
You see, as APC, we run on the bank of the electorate that we are trying to escape from elitism of the PDP. We succeeded in doing that to the point whereby we send PDP in this array. Now PDP is running helter-skelter without a direction, a very fantastic success. But again, we now inherited that elitism, entrench it, create a large barrier to entry for ordinary citizens that we are supposed to protect and work for. And at the end of the day again, we are now shrinking the space by making sure that only the big money bags, the people that have access to public resources, can afford to participate in political process. What are we sending to the general public? And we are so a little bit insensitive to the plight of the people that most people now have access to information. In fact, the people that called me based on one of my interviews that I did from a very deep village in Kano, in Kunchi local government, they were able to see it online, on WhatsApp. Every other person is aware of what is happening. We cannot play to the sensitivities of our public simply because they have trusted us. Because if once the public began to see that we are betraying them, or we have now become so elitist to the point whereby we don't believe the small guy, when the small guy turns his back, we don't have a win. Therefore, we have to really, really reconsider these things. We have to really be acting by putting public interest in mind. We have to look at the countries where we copied our democracy from. In the US, sometimes before they go into primary election, you see about 20 candidates lining up. By the time they run 2 or 5 debates, you find out that there are only 3 or 4 remaining. It is these 4 that will now shrink into 2 that will go into primary election, or 3. And that's how you separate men from the boys. How are you going to convince the public about your programs? So, but the situation whereby we put money, we are telling the small guy that perhaps if you don't have money, go and sleep. What are we sending? What kind of message are we sending to the youths? Go and kidnap, go and steal, go and maim. That's what we are telling them, because it's all about money. Once you have money, you are free. You don't supposed to do that. This is not progressivism. This is not the progressivism that we wrote on. We have to review our policies as a party. That is what I believe.
All right, we do have to leave it here. You are a presidential aspirant under the platform of the APC. We definitely will have you once again to talk about your vision, the reason why you're running. We want to hear what your policies are, and we'll definitely have you again. Thank you so much for talking to us. He joined us from Abuja studio, a presidential aspirant on the platform of the All Progressives Congress, Adamu Garba. All right, we will keep the conversation going here ahead of the 2023 elections. We're going to keep the conversation going here on political standpoint. Thank you so much for watching. I am Precious Amayo.